So today, I'll share with you the 4 mistakes that you could be making which are keeping you skinny. Anyways, my name is Muhammad and I've been training for over 3 years now consistently and I've made some of these mistakes myself, right? Anyways, watch this video till the end to make sure that you're not making any of these mistakes, right? So without wasting your time, let's start. The first mistake, and I personally made this mistake, which is not bulking and like not bulking enough, right? Because, bro, in your fitness journey, you would hear like lots of things, right? You would hear like bulking is like really bad, you just get fat and you barely build muscle, and you here could just stay lean and build muscle, main gaining, and that's the way. And you might actually fall for that because like it's so good, it's too good to be true. So when I first started my fitness journey, I was actually fat, and then I lost the fat and everything, and then I wanted to gain muscle, and I heard about bulking and all of that, and like I started and all, but it felt kind of wrong because I used to be fat in the past, right? And I was scared that I might end up fat again, right? So anyways, I kept going and all, but I was so obsessed with getting lean. So in my first ever bulk, I keep bulking for like 3 months, 4 months, and I go on a crazy cut, right? And I end up looking something like this. This was like my all-time lowest weight. I've probably lost muscle, and I was so obsessed with like trying to get shredded and all, and I did not. I ended up skinny fat, right? And from that point till now, I've been like bulking and cutting, bulking and cutting, bulking and cutting. But bro, I wish that I just like stuck to a proper bulk, right? Like a proper like long-term bulk, and then went on a cut. But I was like constantly changing my mind. I'm bulking right now. No, actually, I'm kind of getting fat. Cut, bulk, cut, bulk, cut, bulk, cut, bulk, cut. The way to do it is to go on a proper bulk, then cut. Proper bulk, then cut. And bro, I'm telling you, the way is to like go on a proper bulk and everything, and then go cut to get rid of the extra fat and all. But like you have to bulk for a proper time, right? You don't bulk for like 2 weeks and then I want to get shredded, so you cut. No, you have to bulk for like a proper time, and this is what made me waste so much time. I was going bulk cut, bulk cut, bulk cut, and just wasted so much time when I could have been bulking, building muscle and all. And bro, bulking is the single best way to build muscle when you do it right. Okay? And now, how do you bulk in the best way? The best way to bulk is to lean bulk, which is basically to gain the weight slowly while training and everything, right? So, how fast should you gain the weight? My advice to you is to gain 1 to 2 kilograms for the whole month. That's like 2 to 4 pounds for the whole month. You're just gonna gain that, nothing more. Because if you try to gain more and more, like as fast as possible, you'll just gain so much fat and you'll have to end the bulk earlier, right? The best bulk is that, like, the longer the bulk, the better, without getting like too fat, right? Because when you get to a certain point, you have to cut because like it's getting unhealthy, right? So you bulk and all for a couple of months, you're building muscle and all, and then after a certain point, your body fat got a little bit too high, you go on a cut. But bro, you must understand that bulking is literally so important. It's where you actually build the muscle. Because, okay, let's say you're a beginner and all, and you try, and you're kind of fat, so you're cutting and all. Okay, you could build muscle and all, obviously, if you're like a beginner and you're new and all. But then after that, okay, there's some people who are actually like skinny fat. Okay, they want to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. And like, bro, if you want the single best way to build muscle, you have to lean bulk. Trust me. Okay. Okay, you could sure build muscle on the cut a little bit, maybe if you're like new and all, but like that's like one of the worst ways. Okay. If you're trying to build muscle, that's like one of the worst ways because it's mainly losing fat, and like you either maintain muscle or sometimes lose muscle, right? And like this is like what usually happens. But you want to gain muscle, that's like way, way, way harder, right? And it's only like possible if you're like new. But other than that, trust me, bro, commit to the bulk. Okay? Don't make my mistake. And now let's move to the second mistake, which is the intensity. And now this mistake is in your training. Okay, let's say you're doing whatever exercise, right? Bicep curls or like whatever. Okay? When you're doing your set, okay, now you're getting to the last reps. Okay, it's getting harder and harder. It's getting harder and harder. And then you can do a couple of more reps, but then you stop because, like, yeah, that's enough. That's a mistake that could be holding you back, because bro, to stimulate muscle growth, you have to take the muscle, like, you have to give it a reason to grow, right? Because, like, think about it. How does a muscle grow? A muscle grows when there's like a reason to grow, right? Because, like, if you only bulk without training, you'll get fat, right? You have to, like, give your body the energy and all, and also train and train properly to give it a reason to grow, right? So you're training and all. My advice with the intensity, I know this might seem a bit controversial and all, go to failure on every single set, okay? But here's the thing. When you're going to failure on every single set, no matter what, keep your form proper. Don't break your form, try to do like an extra, no. Go to failure while doing like the form properly, okay? That's the rule. Go to failure on every single set. That's it for the intensity. Let's move into the third mistake, which is the volume. And I personally fell for this mistake, and it was like actually a trend. Okay, volume is basically the amount of sets you do for each muscle per week, right? So you could go like do like a high volume, okay? You could do moderate volume or low volume, right? And here's where the mistake is. The mistake is doing low volume. And it's been a trend, okay? You might have seen it somewhere, or you might actually be like, planning to do this, where you're doing low volume. Where you're basically like doing way less sets, because like extra sets are not necessary, and like actually this training style, no. Don't fall for that. Because you might hear like, this training style to like to save your time, or like be a like minimalist or whatever. No. You need like, proper amount of volume to grow and all, right? Like intensity is here, it's pretty important, and also the volume, right? Because bro, you have to understand something. If you're trying to maintain your muscle and all, you could do like a low volume approach, okay? But you're trying to build muscle and all, so you have to be doing proper amounts of volume, right? But I'll keep it simple. For every muscle, with the volume and all, don't go too high. Too high is like, okay, you're low-key wasting your time. Like, too high, don't do too high. Keep it moderate. Keep it in the middle. And also don't go too low. Too low, that's like, don't do that. Don't go too low, and like, don't go too high. Keep it in the middle. That's like the sweet spot, right? And now let's move to the fourth mistake, which is not progressively overloading properly. And now, this mistake usually happens because you're like, doing whatever, and like, trying to like, okay, progress and all, but like, you don't have like a proper system that you're following, right? And now, the way to progressively overload properly is to stick to a rep range in all of your exercises, okay? So for example, 8 to 12 reps on all exercises, okay? Now, in this rep range, you're going to stick to it in all of your exercises, okay? So now, for example, let's say you're going to do bicep curls, okay? You can do 5 kilogram dumbbell bicep curls for 9 reps, okay? Next session, or like next week, try to do 10 reps. Try to keep like, to push only one more rep. Try to push like harder than last time. And that's the way. So you keep pushing. 9, 10, that's next session. Then the session after it, 11, the session after it, or like the next week, 12 reps. When you reach the end of your rep range, you can increase the weight. So now you'll be doing 7.5 kilograms dumbbell, and like you can do like 8 reps. And then you do the whole thing again every week or every session. Try to push harder and harder and harder until you hit the end of your rep range, which in my example is 12. Until you hit 12 reps, then increase the weight. And apply all of this to like all of your exercises. Okay? And that's literally it. And that's the 4 mistakes that you could be making. Anyways, bro, if you want to get low-key jacked and get more access to me to ask me questions and all, go down to the first link in the description where you will find Muhammad's Empire. And that's it. I wish you the best, man, and see you in the next one.